Hi and welcome to my channel, Paddles and Trails. Today I wanted to go over some tips for backpacking. So if you're planning on taking a backpacking trip, you want to really consider the items you're going to take with you. So obviously the first thing is you're going to need a backpack. So I use this backpack here. At the time I bought it, it was the lightest backpack on the market. It actually has plenty of space in it. I think it's really a personal preference what kind of backpack you want. So one of the best things you can do is go to an outfitter store, and preferably a place that has a lot of backpacks so that you can try them on. You want to find one that really fits you, that's comfortable for you. At the same time, you want to make sure it's the right size, so it's the liter size is large enough to take everything you want to take. You also want to consider the weight of the bag itself. So when you're thinking about backpacking, you want everything to be as light as absolutely possible. So that starts with the bag itself. There's bags that have some really cool features. Some that they actually have like a piece of mesh that goes on your back, and then there's actually a separation between you and the bag so that it vents between. So there's all of these different kinds of things. There's internal frame packs, external frame packs. Again, it's really all about what you want. So go find a bag that fits you well. So then I think the next thing to think about are those big items, right? Your tent, your sleeping bag, maybe your sleeping pad. So you want to consider the weight, again, of all of those things. This is a tent that I use when I go backpacking. This weighs just about 2 pounds, so very light considering a lot of other tents this comparable to about this size are easily 4 to 7 pounds depending on the material they're made of and things like that. So for me, this is a great backpack. It's really durable. But the material's very thin, and I think you really get your money's worth when you buy a tent that is very light, because you're going to be carrying it around and you really have to deal with that weight. The other option to obviously taking a tent is if you are a hammock person. So if you can take a hammock, again, you want to think about size and weight, how much space is going to take up in your backpack. It's obviously going to take up less than a tent, so that's a really beneficial part of it. But also, where are you going to go backpack? If you're going to go backpack in the desert, probably taking a hammock isn't going to do a lot of good because you might not have anything to attach it to. So you're going to need a tent. But that all depends on where you're going and what you're looking for. If you don't have a mosquito net and you want one on your tent, so you can buy a hammock that has one attached, or you can buy a separate one that you can hang over your hammock. Going inside the tent, you want to think, again, about weight, but you also want to think about what's comfortable for you. So honestly, there's people who hike and they can pretty much just sleep on the ground and they get a great night's sleep. There's other people who they are someone who really needs a lot of padding and a lot of comfort. So you have these sleeping pads. They come in different thicknesses, they come in different materials. There's tons of them out there. So I think, again, if you can go to an outfitter where they have these, then you can sort of find one that's, I think, the right fit for you. You can sort of test the thickness. A lot of those places have them already inflated where you can check them. But finding the one that's right for you is really important. A sleeping bag. So the thing you want to think about with a sleeping bag is, again, where are you going hiking? So are you going hiking where it's hot? Are you going hiking where it's cold? If you're doing desert hiking, then it's probably going to be really hot during the day, and then it's going to get cold at night. So you really need to think and know about where you're going so that you can pack correctly. So this is a down sleeping bag. It is rated for 32 degrees. There's another one I have that's a similar size, very similar, and it's rated down to 0. But these are great because they pack down small. The only thing is they don't give a lot of comfort. So part of that, it's a balance of how much space you want to take up and how much comfort you want. I have another sleeping bag. I have this sleeping bag, and this is a 0 degree. Yes, this is a 0 degree sleeping bag, but you can see, I mean, it's a lot bigger. So what I actually do with this, because you don't want to forget, you're going to pack everything inside your bag, but don't forget about the storage on the outside of your bag. So what I actually do with this, I'll show you here. So on my bag, I put a carabiner clip up at the top. And then what I do is actually clip that on there, and it sits on the outside of my bag. So if I'm in a place where I really want to be warm and I really want to be comfortable and I'm okay with a little extra weight, then I will take a bigger sleeping bag and I'll actually just hook it on the outside of my backpack. That way it doesn't take up extra space inside, because that would take up most of my bag. Something else to think about, you know, if you're going to take trekking poles, so these are the ones I use. If you're not using them, strap them to the outside of your bag. You know, you don't need to take up space on the inside, and these would be very awkward on the inside, so just don't ever forget about the space on the outside of your bag. I know I've showed this pillow before. It's a great little pillow, but again, you really need to find what's right for you. So this one's made of foam. It opens up, and then after you give it a few minutes, it'll sort of inflate, and it's pretty comfortable. And then it rolls down, and it just doesn't take up a whole lot of space. Okay, so let's get into a little bit of the more like gear things. Let's talk about food. So for backpacking, you want something that's going to take up very little space. This is a quick boil system. You need the fuel to go with it, and you need to make sure that however long you're going to be out there, you have enough fuel. They come in larger sizes than this, so if you're going to be out for a few days, you're probably going to need to take several of these, especially if you are in a place where you're going to have to filter water. So I have a water filter here. This one I like, it's one actually that's a pump, and then it hooks onto the top of this bottle, and you can pump the water right into there. Or you can put the water into here, you can boil it, and then put the water in here. So it's really whatever you want to do. You just need to make sure that if you're putting water into this that isn't yet boiled, and that's the level of safety that you really prefer when it comes to your water filtration, then you probably want to have a dirty bottle for your water that you would filter into here, and then you would want another clean bottle that you drink out of. So really just think through how you're going to filter your water. But once you boil it, then, you know, they have these packs of dehydrated food. So you just add the water to that pack, you leave it in there for 10 or 15 minutes, and then it rehydrates the food. They're actually pretty good, and that is such a good option for backpacking. They obviously don't take up a whole lot of space, so you can fit several of them in. I think overall it's probably the easiest option, but it really is personal preference. I've seen people take lots of different versions of that. You know, even like the little noodle packs that you can just put down in the hot water. So it's really whatever you want, but that's always been a pretty good option for me. Don't forget about something to eat with. These are extremely light. I mean, it's silverware, it's not going to be that heavy, but they are metal. They're made of aluminum, and they've lasted me quite some time. I take these backpacking, I take these camping, I take these out on my canoe and my kayak when I go out in those in camp. So those are great, and when you use them, they're easy to wash off and keep clean, so no problem there. I think when it comes to food, the other thing to really think about is don't forget about snacks. So it's, you know, you think about, oh, I need these big packs of food, so I have my breakfast, lunch, and dinner. That's great, they have all those options, but you're going to burn a lot of calories when you're out hiking. So if you a lot of these in the space here, in your belt, in the waistband part, they have these pockets. So it's a great place for your phone. It's a great place to put some snacks so that they're easily accessible. Maybe have some nuts. You can put them in there, and then they're right there where you want them when you get hungry. You need that energy to really keep going, so don't forget about some snack food. Don't overlook that. So a couple of other items here. Think about if you're going to have your phone with you, or some kind of electronic device. Even so, sometimes I like to listen to music when I'm out hiking, so I have headphones. You're going to need a way to charge those things if they run out of battery, within a couple of days. So your options are pretty much, right, solar. So this you can hook on your backpack on the external part, right? And the sun will charge it. It'll charge this little battery pack, and then you can charge your stuff off of that at night. Or you can go with a more traditional, you just charge this up at home. It's just a battery block charger. And then don't forget, you can have these things that will charge your phone, but if you don't take something that will actually connect your phone to the charger, it's not going to do any good. So make sure you don't forget your actual charger for your phone or whatever device you're taking. I always take a knife with me. So you want it, I would say probably most of the time, not really for safety, but you might need to start a fire, and this one actually has a little thing where has a little fire starter on there. You can chop things up if you need to, whatever you're going to do. Sunblock. So I use this sunblock, and it is really almost like a deodorant stick. So you can put it on your arms, you can put it on your face. It works really good, and it doesn't take up a lot of space. It's not like that spray stuff and you lose half of it in the air. It's always good just to take some hand sanitizer, mosquito repellent, and some of these come in these really small things. So again, you don't have to pack a really big thing of mosquito repellent. You can take 1 or 2 of these. That's going to last you quite some time. Chapstick. Again, these are the small things. When you get out there and you've been out for, a few days, and if your lips get chapped and it's just uncomfortable, and it's easy to forget things like chapstick. So don't forget things like that. I always take a lighter. I take the lighter in case for some reason the little automatic starter on here, that little click button, maybe it'll stop working at some point, so I need something to light that up. Or if I'm going to start a fire, then I'm going to need something to do that with if I'm not going to use the flint thing on my knife. Headlamp. So you can take a flashlight. I think a headlamp is really beneficial. It keeps your hands free. The thing that you're going to want is you're going to want something that really lights up. So I recommend 5,000 lumens or greater. If you're going to be way out in the back country somewhere, you're really going to need a lot of light. When you use this one, it's great because it's big. It has a couple of different settings. It's got these batteries in the back, so again, something that you're going to have to charge, so you need something out there with you that's going to help you keep those items charged. So really think about a headlamp and what would work good for you. Some areas that you go backpacking, you're going to need bear spray. So you can order bear spray online, you can buy it at your store, but that's something that you need to keep in mind. Something else is some places require a bear canister. So this bear canister, if I can get it open. Well, I won't open it right now. It's got a little click thing right here that you gotta pass. There we go. I might have to do it twice. Yep. There we go. So basically the bear canister, in some places they require you on certain sections of trails to have a bear canister. You're going to have to keep all of your food in here. So after you use one of these, after you take your bar out of its wrapper, you're gonna need to put those things in here, because when you're camping at night, you do not want a bear to come by your camp and try to get inside and get to those wrappers that they smell. So you're gonna wanna keep everything in your bear canister to keep you safe. Another safety item is you're gonna want a first aid kit. They come in all kinds of different sizes. Please don't underestimate how important it is to have a first aid kit. You can put additional items inside that you want. I keep antacids in there a lot of times. So again, just keep in mind the things that you really want, but it'll come with the basics. Another safety item is maps. Honestly, I really like these maps. National Geographic is the people who make them. They're waterproof. When you're out, if you know the area very well, then I get maybe not having a map, but I think for most people who go backpacking, they're probably going to try to go somewhere they haven't been before because you want to experience new things. Having one of these maps is really just priceless. You need to look at the map before you go so you know what route you're going to take. Again, make sure you know how to use the map. There's different things on here. If you don't know, there's plenty of videos and stuff that you can watch to really understand how the maps work. But know that before you go, so that way if you get lost, you can find your way back. Also, you should always tell someone where you're going and what your plans are. If you're going to most of the national parks, you should check in at the ranger station. Let them know you're going to be there. A lot of times if you have to have a permit, you're going to have to do that anyway, but it's always good to let people know where you're going to be. But these maps I have always found to be very useful. Again, kind of going back to like a small item, don't forget sunglasses. It's easy to forget some of these things. Again, toilet paper, you're going to need toilet paper out there. In some places you need to think actually about, you actually can't use toilet paper. You actually have to pack that out, and so you need to think about what kind of container you can use. So in a lot of places in the desert where you hike, you have to pack everything out. So you need to find good options, and you can certainly go online and find them. But again, those are things that you need to know when you're planning your trip. One last item is, this is a chair that packs down really small. You know, it's really just a question about whether or not you want to take a chair if you want that item. So if it's not important to you, don't take it. But I think it's good just to have as an option, and to know that there's chairs out there that are really light, that don't take up a lot of space, that give you some comfort when you're out there. Well, I hope you found this video helpful. Visit us at paddlesandtrails.com for more information.